Welcome to Season 4 of Skillcast, the podcast by the London Organisation of Skills Development. My name is Nurbanu and I'm your host. I couldn't be more excited to embark on this new season with you. In Season 4, we're pushing boundaries and exploring the forefront of skills development. We'll discuss emerging trends, innovative practices, and the evolving landscape of professional growth. Our lineup features thought leaders, industry pioneers, and change makers who are redefining what's possible. Whether you're aiming to future-proof your career, ignite your passion, or simply enjoy insightful conversations, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome to Skillcast.
Thank you, Nurbanu.
How do you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Abhha Sandill. I'm a rapid transformation therapist and holistic life coach.
Oh, nice. So what does that entail of?
Basically, rapid transformation therapy is a combination of clinical hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and cognitive behavior therapy. So this is therapy curated by Marisa Peer, and I was lucky enough to be trained by her in this therapy. And purpose is to get rapid results rather than going on talking about things and taking a long time. I think because she uses an analogy that if you were hurt on a hand, if there was an open wound, you won't keep going to the doctor and every time, you'll get it bandaged and let it nurse. Likewise, I think she says that with the mind, you can't keep talking about the same thing. It's like an open wound. So you need to do something to rapidly wrap the issue in a way that you handle it. You inquire why the mind is feeling the way it is feeling, get to the root cause and reframe it. And that gets rapid results for the clients.
So how do you practice your rapid transformation on a day-to-day? Is it the words that you speak to is it the way you speak to yourself? Is it your style of doing things? Do you have a daily routine that you have?
That's a very good question. Actually, as part of the rapid transformation therapy, I conduct sessions with my clients. Any issue that they come up with, anything that is holding them back in their life, whether it's in terms of their personal life, any confidence issues or any kind of, social interaction issues like anxiety, depression, or it could be performance issues like, in business, they're not getting where they wanted to, or for a child, it could be like performing in a sports. If they're feeling stuck, they come to me and any issue takes 1 to 3 sessions. We go into a session, which is 1.5 to 2 hours long. And then I create a recording for them based on the session. And in the session, we have a very interactive process where I'm constantly talking to them. So they are the ones actually coming up with the solutions. And then I record it for them in a certain pattern, which is, supportive. And that they need to listen to for next 21 days, because any habit that we need to form or change into a new pattern, it takes 21 days for the brain to start thinking in a different way. So they need to listen to it for 21 days, and I support them with coaching during that process, like 2 to 3 coaching sessions, depending on what they need. That's how we do it.
So when you say they listen to the recordings, do you get that positive narrative, or do you get the more negative one? Which one are you recording, and so are you trying to take a recording of the negative things that they've said, and you analyze it, say, okay, you're saying I might, but we want to change that might to must. Is that what you mean? Or is it recordings where they're giving solutions, they're setting their goals, and that's what, could you just clarify that?
That's a very good question. Actually, nobody has asked me this question like the way you have put it, negative versus positive framing. But basically, during the session we do, as I said, we inquire with the mind, like, why is it feeling the way it is feeling? And we go into the transformation process and reframe and transformation. So transformation is part of the session. And during the transformation, we build the mind up, set it up for success by reminding it that why all those beliefs are not relevant anymore. And whatever they said during the session they want to pursue in their lives, that is what is put in the recording, because mind needs to focus on what they need to do rather than what was or what happened, those things are not relevant anymore, because anyways they're in the past. As we describe it in our sessions as well, it's like water, it's like the shower you took in the morning. The water is now all gone, you can't get it back. So those experiences, those feelings that were holding you back are like that water that you don't even want it back, to be honest, because it's it's served its purpose. So in the recording we put the positive affirmations and positively oriented, processes that they want their life to look like, what they want their beliefs to be like, actually. And because it works at the subconscious level, they are supposed to listen to the recording during certain times of the day, either when they wake up in the morning or at sleep time. That is the alpha state of the mind that is really, really receptive. And when they listen to it during that time, it goes deeper into the subconscious, and the reframing happens much more faster and quicker.
So when we talk about the alpha state, do you want them to get into a meditative state before they're listening to their recordings, or is it just in the morning they're naturally relaxed and in alpha? Because if I was going to give you an example, I have family members who sleep very late, who sleep at, let's say, they'll be awake until like 6 a.m. They'll sleep for maybe like 2 hours, and wake up in a rush, like, oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock. I'm missing my calls, in a really, really anxious state. So someone like that, do they need to get into alpha, or are they just programmed to be in alpha?
Very good questions. Again, that is part of the process of the recording. So as we record, we actually take them into the alpha state. As part of the recording. So when they're listening, they're kind of taken into that place where they kind of asked to calm themselves down to a certain, as if they're going down the stairs. So that's part of the recording. So they don't need to really do anything else.
And they get to listen to their own narrative of them saying that affirmation, or is it a mixture of both?
Their narrative in my voice. Because, I'm kind of following a process where I'm taking them down into an alpha state.
And then they follow your steps, basically.
They just kind of have to listen. They don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds really cool. And it's really nice that it's facilitated as well. So a lot of people think like, oh, I can do it myself. They can watch YouTube. But I think sometimes it's the hand holding that takes them to the next space. Mm-hmm. So for yourself, because obviously you're helping people with any issues that they have with mindset, and they're trying to transform into better people, what do you do yourself to ensure that you're also not absorbing all of that energy?
That's a very good question again. Sorry, you're asking really good questions, Nurbanu. I'll just refer back quickly to what you mentioned, that sometimes we need the hand holding. Actually, any hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Whatever we do, and even during our daily routine, we go through hypnosis so many times during the day. For example, we are traveling in a car and suddenly we realize, oh, I've arrived already. I didn't realize the route. We sitting in a bus and just thinking about something, and then we reach. So that's hypnotic state that we go through almost every single day. And nobody can really hypnotize you unless you want to be hypnotized. So, people who come to me are really, really willing to find the solution. And one more thing I want to mention is hypnosis is something people often feel a bit wary of, because they have seen,
right?
Yeah, because they've seen it on television, people being made to kind of do monkey tricks, or, acting like a duckling or something like that. But it's nothing like that. It is actually, taking you to a meditative state to have a conversation with yourself. Why is it bothering me? Where I'm just a facilitator, and answers come from the clients. So everything that is coming from, that we are receiving during the process is from them, what they really want to shift and why they want to shift it. So I just literally hold the space for them, because I've been trained in a certain modality, and, I'm able to kind of hold that space. I can kind of guide them in the right direction. But yeah, they are kind of healing themselves, and every client is a teacher for me. I learn so much, because every person goes through, even if, it's the same problem, they go through so many different loops in kind of going through problem that ultimately, they kind of find their own answers, and every answer is unique to them in that sense.
So, you mentioned that there's so many different teachers and different mentors that you follow. Isn't there a little bit of that confusion now as to which, I know they're all trying to get to the end goal is to save, but the actual modality that they're using, the therapy they're using, they can kind of vary. How do you stay focused on one, or is it okay to apply different therapies for a particular client?
That's a good point. I have used RTT very effectively with people, but I think it's also your belief in the modality that helps. But sometimes, when people have been through a lot of trauma, sometimes they need additional support. And that's when I kind of tap into my other things that I've learned, like holistic therapy or EFT, because sometimes they just need that support. So during my coaching sessions, I might take them through that process just to help them kind of stay focused during the day. Like they're listening in the morning, they're listening in the night, but during the day, sometimes they can be overwhelmed about things. So, just kind of helping them center back into their self and coming out of the mind and into the body, that kind of processes help. And coming back to the question that you also asked about, how do I kind of safeguard myself in the process when, I'm dealing with so much of anxiety sometimes people are dealing with, or limiting beliefs. And it's all energy, it can impact you, and it can kind of affect you in ways that you don't even realize sometimes. But over the years, I'm grateful to Marisa, because she also trains us in that, how to take care of yourself, grounding exercises, taking care of your own self. Personally, I also find that the RTT process is also very empowering, because, by the end of the whole thing, we are already doing a transformation for the client. And when you do the transformation and you see the penny drop moment for the client, and you see them kind of shifting in their energy, almost you feel uplifted as well. So it doesn't really always stay with me, only in cases where it's almost like layers of an onion. You're peeling one layer and then you feel, oh, there's so much more to deal with, so we go back to the next session. But during that time, I need to conserve my energy to make sure. And we do grounding exercises. It could be something as simple as going out into the park to walk bare feet, or just kind of standing outside, feeling that
absorbing the sun. When we do have sun in the UK,
absolutely.
It's completely true.
When the sun comes out,
exactly. Yes. It's completely true. You can't fill from an empty cup. You have to fill your cup up first, and it's about absorbing other people's energies as well. Like some people have they're very, very skeptical, very, very negative, and obviously you're trying to help them, but at the same time you kind of want to shake it off, because you can't be holding on to that as well. So it is difficult. But are there any clients that you would feel that, okay, I think this is a bit too negative or a bit too overwhelming for me, that you would just reject someone? Or are you one of those people that just says, no, I don't care how difficult that is for them, I'm happy to take that on me? Because regardless of how much people say, like, oh, I'm strong, I say I've safeguarded myself, I can't take on, but subconsciously, like you said, we are kind of taking that onto us. Would you ever reject someone as a client in that situation? Obviously, there's no judgment here if there is a case like that.
To be very honest, I've faced issues dealing with people sometimes, but not with my clients. The only criteria that I keep is that they need 100% commitment to work with me. I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 how committed they are to the process. If the answer is not 10, it's 8 or 7, I try to find out what is it that will help them get to a 10.
This is that limiting belief, that block they have from that.
About the process, about me, about anything, it could be anything. So that's from 7 to 10, how can I help them come from 7 to 10? Once they tell me, and we work through that, then I take them on. If they think they cannot, then that is the time when I would say, maybe, I'm not the right person to work with you, but you will definitely find your solution, because I deeply believe that every issue has a solution. Every problem has a solution. It may not come through me, but they'll definitely find it. So I leave them with that, positive thought. And I do, what I've learned to do is also, create positive affirmations relevant to the person. when they share their issue. And then, so I just give them on a trial basis, okay, try this particular statement in a certain way. I ask them to practice it in a certain way. If it helps you, then you come back to me. If it doesn't, maybe, you need to kind of just find some other place to get your solution, but just know that you'll find the solution.
That's really, I like that, because you're not trying to say like, you're not committing to anyone to say, I can do it. I want you to feel it and see if it helps you, because if it's helping you, I know I can help you. And I think that's a really beautiful and honest way of kind of working with someone. Obviously, there's so many rapid RTT, rapid transformation coaches out there. What's the difference? Is it kind of like a franchise thing going on, or does everybody have their own unique extra USP that they have?
I think definitely it comes down to the person who's kind of delivering the therapy as well. One is the power of the technique itself. It's really, really empowering. I think Marisa has developed it after many years of research and, working with clients, and it has its power. But then, there are people who find when they're practicing, they may not be able to get the client to a certain solution. But then if they add on some modality, they feel more empowered to deliver the results. So it depends from person to person. And people do specialize. So, for example, I know somebody who uses RTT for limiting beliefs around business growth, or somebody who uses RTT around grief, healing from grief. So people have developed modalities based on what connects with them. And I think it also makes business sense, because people aren't looking for expertise and looking for specialists. So, people who are practicing RTT have developed those specific areas within RTT as well that they can support people with.
Can you use other modalities in addition to RTT, like meditation or some other solutions, some other integrated alternative medicine solutions? Or should they just do the one?
So sometimes, clients come to me saying that they have already been doing something. I never ask them to stop, because I feel that if something's helping you, continue it. Why not?
But they don't know if it's helping them, though.
Yeah, they don't know, but that's why they're still looking for
solutions.
Yeah. So I don't ask them to stop, because, there's a certain belief around why they're doing it. So they naturally will, stick to one or the other based on their experience. I don't ask them to stop, but I do ask them to focus on, at least for that month, making sure that they're listening to the recording. That is one thing that differentiates from a client that gets results versus who doesn't get results, is basically, are they listening to the recording? That's the simplest thing that they need to do. And if they're listening to the recording, they naturally kind of either, become more self-assured, not wanting to, do any other thing, or they kind of take on habits that they want. For example, they've been dealing with anxiety, but then they have, in their recording, they've said that I want to do more yoga, go out more. And when they have listening to the recording, they've started taking on those practices. They don't need that, regular support from EFT anymore, or any particular kind of form of other modality anymore, because they have naturally started taking care of their own body, because it's all about energy. For example, I also do yoga to manage my energy, because yoga is all about, kind of activating or balancing your chakras, moving your energy around, at the aura body that we have around us. So that's all. Those are all the ways how you balance yourself. And once somebody starts taking them on, because they have told themselves that I want to do it during the session, and then I put that in their recording, and they kind of start taking on those during those 21 days, they naturally gravitate towards, choosing whatever they feel comfortable with. Yoga is helping them, then they don't need that additional modality, because it's all about healing, right? Or they can continue to do something like a meditation, because it helps them still feel grounded in the morning. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it as well.
Do you find that this whole rapid transformation coaching, do you think it's easy? Do you think it's more difficult working with middle-aged clients versus working with more younger clients? In terms of, because obviously we're all born like a light bulb. And then obviously we have layers and layers. So you got primary socialization, you have your secondary socialization, and sometimes people lose who they are and all of these, and they meet these different people. So these anxieties kind of like build up and things. Is it easier if they start early with the RFT than it is for someone middle age who's already set in their ways and have a certain belief system that they build around the ecosystem that they're being socialized with?
It definitely makes a difference. But to be honest, up till the age of 50, 55, that the clients that I've worked with, they haven't found it so difficult. Maybe after 60 is something that I've kind of, faced more challenge with, I would say, because, it's like, it's also about what they want to achieve in their life. I think sometimes, there is a stage of life where they start to give up a little bit, kind of go into that mode that I've done everything that I wanted to do. I don't want to do anything more. So even if they're looking for solutions, but the mind is still kind of, stuck in patterns sometimes. But it's not true for everybody. One or two clients I'm talking about maybe who have faced a challenge, but it's also because, they're in a certain environment or they've been in a certain way. But it's not limited to age. RTT's impacts are not really limited by age. Children definitely get better results, quicker results, because the analytical mind hasn't really set in so hardly, as you said, the primary socialization, secondary socialization. So it definitely works much quicker for children. Older age, I would say, it depends from person to person, definitely. And people from certain backgrounds, actually, for example, somebody who's a teacher, or somebody from an armed forces might find it more challenging because they are always in control-oriented mentality. Like they need to be in control of everything. So hypnosis means you're giving control to the other person in a way, at least during that process. So initially, I found it challenging to work with a few people, but then I started seeking permission. And Marisa's training also guides us through that process. So I started taking permissions. And sometimes, control can happen with anybody. It's not just those specific professions, but sometimes when I face challenge with somebody and I realize, it's the control issue, so I could use that technique and it worked fine.
So you state to them like, I feel. Do you have permission to kind of just let go and release? Is that sort of thing? Or you just tell them like, you're so controlling?
And then I just ask them, do I have your permission to hypnotize you for this process so that we can get to the root cause, so that, they can come on board with the process rather than feeling, why are they telling me to do things, Because it's, again, the subconscious mind kicking in, this is not what I want. I want to be in control. And once they have given permission, then they feel, okay, I'm in control because I have allowed them to do this, go through this process with me.
So do you have family?
Yes.
Yeah. How do they feel about all of this, like hypnosis and stuff?
My daughter is fascinated. She loves it. Yeah. She loves the fact that, I'm able to help people. She's proud of it. And my husband is, he's from a science, engineering background, finance background. So he kind of looks at it with kind of, an eye of, okay, are you sure? But he's supportive in the sense that he's still in, amazement. Is it working? Wow, is it really working? So he wouldn't kind of, put himself in that chair for me, but he kind of appreciates the work that I'm doing because I've kind of come to a place where I've written books around it, how I help people. I'm in the process of connecting with more and more people, getting them on board, even to share, their knowledge through podcasts. And it's been an amazing journey. So much more I could say, but yeah.
That's so super enlightening, and learning more about your therapies and what you do. I think it's great work that you're doing, and it's really nice that you've got a family, you've got your children who are really fascinated, and you've got the other half is like, okay, I don't get it, but okay, you keep doing your thing, helping other people, because it's definitely serving people. And I love what you talked about, your whole recordings, and I think that would definitely serve people as it is. So if people want to learn more about your work or reach out to you, how can they do so?
They can reach out to me via Instagram. My Instagram is @AchieveWithAbha. because I believe that everybody has the right to achieve their full potential, and there's always a solution available. So I help them, support them, and I especially work with women who are going through any kind of challenges in life and feeling stuck in their life, whether it's related to business, personal relationships, or home life, and help them step up and live a life of fun, freedom, and fulfillment. I do want to mention one more thing, that I was always very judgmental about my own self, through my life, especially after my pregnancy, because I put on weight and I just couldn't lose it. For the life of me, I tried all sorts of things, yo-yo dieting, everything, but after coming into therapy, I started feeling that feeling of being enough, that I'm enough as I am. It doesn't matter how I look, or, whether I have more weight or less weight, doesn't matter. It's about how I feel. And I actually went out to put myself up for a pageant.
Very nice.
Yeah. Because, they asked me to describe myself in 4 or 5 words, or 3 words, I think. And I was like, that was really challenging initially. And then the thing that I came up with is something that I truly believe in for all my clients as well, that I'm God's perfection unfolding. It's like every day I'm discovering who I can really truly be in this world. And that's the potential everybody has, we think we are just this much, but then there is no limit. We are limitless beings.
It's a flowing river.
Yes. Yeah. So I participated in, I was a finalist for Mrs. Asia Great Britain in 2023.
Nice.
And then I went on to represent the UK in an international pageant as Mrs. United Kingdom International in 2024. And take my, mission of women empowerment to a totally new level. And I'm really, really proud of myself for kind of doing that.
Wow, that's really cool, really impressive. Wow. Beautiful. It's beauty and brains we have.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and enlightening us with all the great work you do, and keep doing the great stuff you're doing.
Thank you, Nurbanu. Thank you, and thank you to LOST for having me here. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.